I guess the, okay, thank you, Diamond. Well, get started. Is that okay, Ms. Wallace?
Yes, it is, definitely.
Okay, can you all see this screen?
Yes.
Okay, so as you know from the flyers, this charrette is known as the Revitalizing Vacant Spaces Charrette. These vacant spaces pertain to the Sea Pleasant vacant houses and lot inventory. All those vacant properties on that inventory, which has been depleted significantly, but this project is to make sure that we have some actual designs and construction documentation so that we can provide the amenities that the city wants to see in their houses, the new houses. As you know, the inventory used to be about 140. Now it's down to maybe 50 or 40, but it's been bought up by a lot of realtors who sell them at market rate, which prices out our low-income potential home buyers, whether they be residents or new buyers. You know, we want to focus on low-income persons in the city, since we have a 17% low population under the poverty level. And we have a significant population in our two subsidized complexes. Who knows who's in those complexes that have aspirations to buy their first or whatever home. So we want to be able to provide, as a city, responsive properties that they can potentially afford. Okay, so do we have any residents on the line? That's interesting. I don't know why, but I mean, I can't have that. But we'll provide the PowerPoint on the website and a link on our social media so that they can view this PowerPoint. Okay. With me today, and who's been very instrumental in getting all this great information, is Veronica Owens of Monarch Butterfly Incorporated. She is going to be introducing the Sea Pleasant vacant homes, I'm sorry, Veronica. The Vacant Homes Program is a new program that we want to initiate and bring before the council. A program that realtors and folks can go by before they start building. Veronica has over the years helped the city with grants. He used to work for the Department of Housing for several years. I'm not going to say how many, but several. So she is very good at what she does. And so right now, I'm going to let her take over. Okay, Veronica?
Okay. Thank you, Kirtland. I'm excited to be here today. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm Veronica Owens, Monarch Butterfly Enterprises. And we love to renovate homes, especially those ugly homes. And we're an environmentalist at heart. So we do everything in an environmentally and sustainable way. And so we're taking those practices and working with the city of Sea Pleasant and incorporating them in their design of their new program. That program is entitled the Sea Pleasant Vacant Home Program. So it's been my pleasure really to work with the city, because I feel like I've been working with the city for several years now in transforming the city. So tonight we'll be showing you the first two homes in the community, in this community forum, and we want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts, your ideas, suggestions. But first, we want to tell you a little bit about the program, how we got here, some community results, and standard features along with our process. So one of the things that we did first is we polled the citizens in Sea Pleasant, and we asked you, what do you want to see in a new home? What would you like to see in affordable housing? And 38% of you said we want to see open floor plans. 32% said we want to see a front porch so we can sit outside on the front and wave to our neighbors. 20% of you said we want a parking pad so we can park right in front of our house. And 10% of you said we want a kitchen island. And in this open floor plan, we want to be able to have the Washington football game or like me, a Ravens football game, and be able to talk in the living room and cook in the kitchen, okay? So next we want to talk about, next slide. We want to talk about some of the standard features. So after we got your wish items, Kirtland and I have been working on standard feature guide. And this standard feature guide will be available later on to developers coming into the city of Seat Pleasant, as well as using this as a platform for all of our future housing. So that platform will start with basic elements. What do we want to see in the home? So those basic elements include at least a minimum of 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. And again, with those open floor plans. And how about conducive for aging in place? Because a lot of us are getting older and we might want to have a handicap accessible bathroom or bathroom on the first floor that we can utilize, along with a parking pad and storage. Energy efficiency. We want to take it up a notch along with the residents already in Seat Pleasant who have solar on their roofs. So we want to put in blown-in insulation to add the extra warmth in the house. And we know how that can be when you're in your living room and it's cold. So we're going to put in blown-in insulation. We're going to use sustainable materials. We're going to use high energy efficiency furnaces. And of course, we're going to use the Energy Star appliances. Thirdly, we're going to incorporate green elements in every house. And so one of those green elements I'm excited about because it's going to be flower beds or garden beds on every single house. We're going to create them and put 2 of them in the rear of every home so that you can plant your own garden or you can plant some flowers around your house, along with other sustainable materials throughout the building process. Next slide. So I know you're saying, well, okay, so how did you guys get here? These are the phases that outlines how we got to this part. Phase 1, we secured funding. Kirtland and I wrote about 2 or 3 grant applications and we secured funding so that we can kick off this process and start and be able to pay our architects so that we can put together these great plans. Phase 2, we identified the two first properties that we were going to move forward on. And then we put out a request for proposal, or affectionately known as an RFP, for architectural services. Then we polled the community, and then we developed and started some guidelines for the program. Phase 3, we brought on board Trace Architects and DP and Partners, which you'll hear from shortly, to begin these wonderful designs that you're going to see tonight. And right now we are in phase 4. We're in the community charrette stage and in phase 4. And this is where we need your additional input so that the city council can approve this program. So we're going to look for your ideas and suggestions tonight so that the city council can approve or make any recommendations when they have the final approval at the city council meeting. Phase 4, we're going to continue with the designs. They're going to be completed, and then we will do a request for proposal or RFP for a construction team to start the construction on these 2 houses. And then we will move to phase 5. Where the city council will make any recommendations and approval for the program, which again could be at an earlier date than phase 5. And then we will begin construction. We will also partner with our housing counselors to get some of the low income and moderate rate people ready for these homes so that they can start the housing process to begin, so that they can write a contract for the home. Maybe they have some credit issues that they have to work on. And lastly, we will be working on a booklet and a guideline for developers to outline all of these standard features moving forward, so that developers coming into Seat Pleasant, we want them to have a good design, a sustainable design, and energy efficient, just like our program. So that's it in a snapshot. Next slide.
Can I say a couple of things,
Sure.
Veronica, on that? As far as this slide, just for your information, the blown in insulation will really be important in the house for the new houses, because we found statistically that over 40% of the houses in Seat Pleasant were built before 1969. So insulation is below standard. So of course, we're going to our new homes to be very highly insulated to keep down utility costs. That's the whole thing. Energy efficiency for that feature. So the gardens that Ms. Owens mentioned, we want to push for trees and rain gardens, because the county is pushing that for all new development here lately. They want to see more trees. They want to see more rain gardens to help with the runoff issue. And just so you know, as Ms. Owens mentioned, we'll start the RFP for construction in a while. The money for that is the grant that we got for $500K. That's where that's going to come from. So we're good as far as funding is concerned. Now with COVID and other issues, construction costs have gone way 100% increases, and it's still in place. So we may not be able to build two, but we put in another grant with CDBG for some additional funding to make sure we can do both houses. But we will be doing both houses some kind of way. So with that, I'm going to go here. And Ms. Owens.
Yes, we're going to turn it over to Trace Architects to begin to show the transformation of 6224 Foote Street. And we want to turn it over to Heather from Trace Architects to show these wonderful designs. And then after Heather, we're going to go over to DP and Partners.
Good evening, everyone. I am going to share my screen here. It looks, I think you can see it. You see a screen that says about us.
Mm-hmm.
So first, thank you for having us tonight, and thank you for coming to listen to what we've been working on. Trace Architects is comprised of Jim Shetler, who is also on this Zoom call, and myself. We're the founding partners. We both live in Baltimore City, and we have a lot of our residential experience working with a nonprofit, the Patterson Park Community Development Corporation. So this slide here shows some of the community partnerships that we've had, that we've established over the years with a lot of nonprofits. And again, working with neighborhood revitalization is something that's really important to us. We love living in the city, and we love cities in general. And we also are, it's really important to us to do infill projects and work within the existing fabric of these neighborhoods. So there's just some examples of some of our completed work here. And I'm going to skip on to the next slide now. Let me load this up. Okay, so before we jump into the three parties that we've developed for tonight that we're going to be showing, I wanted to talk about where we started with the site analysis. Jim and I both did site visits. We did them separately, but I was able to come down and meet with Ms. Rhoda and Veronica, and we got to drive around the neighborhood, and look at the, not just Foote Street, but we got to meet at the City Hall and drive all over the place to give us a sense of what was going on in there. And we took a lot of photos of the existing housing stock so that we could see, what people are used to seeing, what, kind of what that fabric looked like. We have over here on the left side of the page, this is the property here, 6224 Foote Street. And we did a little developmental analysis to see, what the setbacks are and what kind of lot coverage we can get there. So these are the things that tell us how big we can get, how close we can get, so that we know what footprint we can work in. And then I have over here on the right-hand side of the screen, oops, sorry about that. I want to zoom in a little bit. Sorry, I have my screen so big that I'm having a little bit of trouble navigating.
And as you know, the PowerPoint will be available for everyone, so.
Yes. So I wanted to just make note of the architectural features, the orientation and siding, and the materials and finishes. Those were some things that we looked at in the neighborhood. Those were things that we wanted to look at, like repetitive elements, dominant features that came up. Porches, it's not surprising that people wanted porches as a, on the top of their list, because there were a lot of the houses have not only a front porch, some have front and side porches and rear porches. So we knew that that was something that would be important in the neighborhood. We looked at the different roof lines of the houses. And again, I have more detail. You can look at this at your leisure, but the breakdown of the windows and doors and the massing of the building was something that we looked at. We're not going to put in a 3-story building. We tried to look at, again, what was comparable to what was to, the existing housing stock there. Orientation and siding, looking at what the best way would be. We've got a nice south-facing lot, so this is something that's a real asset for this property here as far as natural lighting goes. The setbacks, many of the houses are set back, 25 feet, so you've got a front yard, and then you can also have still a nice big backyard. They're really big lots. And let's see here. We wanted to make note of just some of the logistical things for the neighborhood too. The fact that your trash is picked up in the front of the property. And then we looked at materials and finishes. There's a lot of vinyl siding. There's some brick that's used throughout the neighborhood. And then there's also one thing that we noted, but there was a bit of a muted color palette, and that's maybe something that we'd want to challenge or introduce some alternatives to that as we go forward. So let's go on to the next slide here. I am not monitoring the chat, so if Miss Rhoda or Veronica, if something comes up in the chat, like a question.
We're gonna do the questions at the end for everybody.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
Okay.
So we've got our 3 parties. Now, party is a big idea, or it's your big idea behind the scheme. So, we could call it scheme 1, scheme 2, scheme 3. All of the parties feature 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. And then this one is the largest one at around 2,000 square feet. And the idea for this one was, one of the ideas was to introduce a wraparound porch. And I'm going to move on to the next slide that shows the plans and the elevations, because I think the other big idea behind this scheme was this drive-through, this pass-through driveway. We noticed that where this lot is directly at the end of another street. And so we thought that it could be an asset to be able to pass through the property and have access onto the alley and directly out that other street. So that informed, where we would locate the house and how it would align with this existing driveway. And then that therefore tells us kind of what space is left to introduce the building footprint. And this one seemed to work out well, to have this nice wraparound porch here. I'm going to zoom in on the floor plan for you.
Heather,
Yes.
can I interject one thing? The message in the chat about questions. If anybody is, if you're able to type in the chat, put your questions in there, and that will save time at the end of the presentation, and we can be answering your questions.
Kirkland, you froze.
Huh?
You're freezing, Kirkland. You're freezing.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Can hear you, yeah.
Am I still freezing?
No.
I can hear you.
Phasing in and out. I don't know if you're talking too close to the mic or what. We can
Okay.
hear you, but you froze a little
Okay,
bit.
so if you're able to type your questions in the chat, we would appreciate it. And that way we can begin to answer them as we go along instead of waiting to the end. Okay, everyone?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead, Heather.
All right, thanks. So I know there's always a little bit of variation with familiarity with reading plans and architectural drawings. So I wanted to walk you through the floor plans, and I can do that for each partee. So this one, you'd pull up here into the driveway and you've got the public entry here. So we've got a little set of steps up here onto a slightly raised, again, wraparound porch here. Walk into the house. There's a small foyer. Again, the footprints are not that big, so we have to be very smart about how we're using space. So when I say foyer, it's not going to be this grand McMansion foyer. We're going to be much more thoughtful about how we're using space in that regard. But you have your stairwell, a coat rack, and maybe some sort of bench or seating area when you come in. And then we've got this open floor plan here with the living room in the front, the dining room in the middle, and the kitchen in the back. We've got a sizable kitchen here with a U shape and a little nook here where the refrigerator and some more countertop space and built-in cabinets could go. So again, you've got potential here with this house to have these great views directly through the house. One of the things that was mentioned about a consideration that we'd have in this is the idea of aging in place. So you'll see on our schemes, we have something that we're referring to as an away room, and we have it shown as optional because we want to get a sense of how important that is in the grand scheme. But this away room could be used as an office, or it could be used to have some sort of ground floor bedroom
No,
here.
that's okay. I totally understand.
So we have a ground floor bedroom here with, but we tried to keep it as open as possible with the remaining, with the rest of the floor plan. So we've got large, maybe they're barn doors or some sort of pocket doors, something there to keep that space open if you wanted to. Again, giving options in how you use that space. You'd walk through the away room, and then we talked about having a ground floor bathroom. So it's a powder room right now, but there is space to put in a shower. Again, if it became more of an aging in place, an elderly living situation. Back here in the back corner of the house, we've got a mudroom and a pantry in there. And then you'll see again with these nice views out into the yard. We wanted to show on every scheme some sort of outdoor storage space. So this one lent itself to having a shed in the back because you can drive all the way through, and then we've got the planting beds back here. And I'm going to speed up a little bit so I don't get too jammed up at the end. Coming up to the second floor, you'll have this centralized hallway here. We have the owner's suite in the front, and then two secondary bedrooms here in the back with a shared bathroom. We have laundry and mechanical up on the second floor. The owner's suite consists of large bedroom with an outdoor deck And you can see that over here in the elevation. So you can come out this door here and onto we thought having a second floor, sort of a private outdoor space, is a really nice feature, in addition to just having, nice porches or yard space. And then it has the ensuite bathroom and walk-in closet there. And to show you just to get back to the elevations and the massing model, you can see this house reads very similarly to some of the other properties in the neighborhood, with the steep gabled roof. So we have the opportunity here to have really nice high ceilings, and dramatic ceiling space in the owner's suite and throughout the second floor there.
Okay,
We also have, I'm sorry, say that again.
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You can go.
Okay.
I'm sorry. We wanna make
Again,
sure.
with the natural light here, we've got skylight options, and there's plenty of roof space here for solar panels. All right, moving on to Party 2. Again, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and I'm not counting, we didn't count the optional away room in there as a bedroom. This one's slightly smaller at 1,940 square feet. You'll see here we've got a front porch on this one as well. I'm going to jump to the next sheet. This one here, this is the big idea behind this one was to have a courtyard configuration. So we've got a U-shaped floor plan with a courtyard space there. So the house is wrapping around the outdoor space, in addition to having a covered front porch, your front yard, side yard, and backyard. I can't drive through the lot here, but we'd do some sort of extension off of the driveway and have covered parking. We noticed that was something that wasn't available at a lot of the houses, and we thought it might be a nice feature to offer covered parking there. This property sort of this scheme right here reads as 2 volumes here. So you've got the front space and the back space, which are indicated here with a darker siding and a lighter siding. It's not visible in the massing model because it's back, around, and behind, but I'll quickly walk you through the floor plan here. Under the covered porch, you'd have your shared public and private entry into a small foyer, and you'd have your living room, kitchen, and dining room, all which have nice views out onto the courtyard space. We have the away room tucked here in the back, again, with big doors here so that we could keep it open and more united with the rest of the public space if you wanted to, if you weren't using it as a bedroom or you didn't need it to be a closed off office space. We have a powder room again, mechanical and storage underneath the stairs. And on this one, we introduced some exterior storage within the volume of the house. We've got switchback stairs here. So you come up the stairs, and again, you've got a hallway here that kind of wraps around this area. Right here is the area over the carport. And in this scheme, we have the owner's suite in the back of the house. Again, the owner's suite consists of a walk-in closet, a large private bathroom, and an optional deck. And then we've got 2 bedrooms here in the front with their bathroom that they share, and a separate laundry room up on the second floor. And I have some of the main notes, the primary thoughts written out here as well. Again, the parking and the outdoor spaces are enveloped by the building rather than just being tacked on. We thought that that's always something that's important to us, is just not looking, just not looking like something's been thoughtlessly kind of attached to the property. We also did show here how you could fence in the yards. So, you could have a fence here and back here and then wrap the building. We also have some space for bike racks. Right. Am I okay on time? I have like 5 more minutes.
Hurry.
Okay. Party 3.
Sorry.
3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and this is the smallest of them in terms of square footage. So you can see here the carport out here, and then this one is also a little bit of a courtyard situation, but rather than being a U shape, the floor plan reads more as an L shape. Again, you could fence in the yard here. The side yards aren't quite as big, so we just show the back fenced in this scheme right here. This one does assume that the existing driveway would be shifted, but we can make it work with the existing driveway and its location if we need to, but we want to just show that as an option. Again, you'll have your covered porch here. You enter in with the kitchen in the front here, and you've got kitchen, dining in the middle, living in the back. So again, still very open floor plan here, but also allows for a little bit of a corner to tuck away. We have the optional away room again with large doors that can be opened to the dining room, a powder room here that could be made into a full bathroom with a shower. I kind of bypass, there's a mud room and mechanical room with additional entry from the exterior right here. And then also exterior storage here in the yard. Again, if you're gardening, you need a little garden shed. And then this one has a patio here, and we've got, rather than having the house wrap on the outdoor space, we have a screen wall here, which is what this element here is shown in elevation. This one also has switchback stairs in the center of the house. So you'd come up, and the owner's suite is in the back here. We've got the front bedroom could kind of lend itself to a little bit of the owner's suite vibe, where you've got a walk-in closet and it has its own private or a separate entrance to the bathroom here. There's also a secondary entrance for bedroom 2. So they both have easy access into this shared bathroom, wrapping around the laundry room. And then in the back, the owner's suite with a large bedroom, the deck, out the second floor outdoor space, walk-in closet, and bathroom. And that's what you're looking at right here. Is this would be the deck here for the master, for the owner's suite there. And then you've got the carport up here in the front, and this is your smaller covered porch that leads you back behind the screen wall into that courtyard or patio. Anyone have any questions?
I'm answering some now in the chat, but we'll do everything at the end. So,
okay,
Veronica, thank you so much, Heather.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing here.
That was awesome. Can't wait to hear what everybody's feedback. We're going to turn it right over right now to Ashley from DP and Partners so they can talk about the other site. Ashley?
Yes, good evening. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here. At the least, we've, I think, been in concert now for well over a year, from dating back to the interviews to where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel almost a sense of kinship to Seat Pleasant at this present moment. We ourselves, we lived in PG County for some years, and so we're definitely very familiar with the space. And in terms of our workflow, DP Partners has had a relationship with the counties in those cities for quite some time. We are, of course, located in DC, but have done a lot of projects in Maryland. I think the most notable would be the sports and learning complex that we did some years ago. We are focused and always have been focused on doing community outreach and making sure that we are responsive and then responsible in terms of the solutions that we come up with regarding the I guess some of the more challenged communities. And so we look forward to this moving forward. I think if we go to the next one. So we did the site visit with Ms. Rhoda and Ms. Owens, and this site was, I guess, unique in that it of course had all of the residential, but then it also bordered the commercial project or the church, which is right next door to the site. And So we were going to have to, figure out how to deal with that at some point. And so you'll see that moving forward. In terms of a design style, once we looked at some of the projects that were, some of the existings that were there, we decided that we wanted to try and keep as many of the bedrooms at grade as possible. Even if it was not necessarily an ADA styled space, we know we wanted to try and keep this lower, especially with the discussion of people beginning to age in place. And as you can see, looking at some of these photographs here, not many of these homes are, more than a story, if not, some of them are not, only a few are 2-story residences. So in our options, we only, we have a mixture. So that brought us to generating something that came along the lines of a mid-century modern type of format. And this picture here represents I guess the case study that we used, moving forward in that respect. So this would be the first option that we generated. So the site has the, if I can zoom in here, I can get you to see what happened. I can zoom in, zoom in.
Down at the bottom where it says 81. The very bottom, you can
move this. There it is. There we go. Yeah. There we go.
And the address of this one, just so that everybody knows, is 420 69th.
So that's the site that was dilapidated for over 16 years. Oh my God.
Yes, yes.
We were able to
and
get funding from the
Yeah.
Department of Housing to demolish it. But first, I know you all remember Bob. Bob was able to purchase the house on a tax sale, and then we got funding to demolish it, and here we are. Go ahead, Mr. Kapoor.
Yeah, so the site was kind of beat up definitely when we first got to it. But as Ms. Rhoda just mentioned, there was a grant that was put in place to do a lot of cleanup, and so by the time we were there to do the site visit, the original original house had been raised, and it just needed some continued landscaping. So walking through this plan here, the thought would be to, of course, to have permeable pavements all around for the walkways, and then for this particular driveway. The site has it changes. Sorry, this thing is in the way. This it changes in elevation about 4.5 feet from the rear of the property to the front of the property, and so the rear being higher than the front, thus giving some also opportunities in terms of the stormwater runoff and how we were going to manage that with swales and so on. But in doing so, we saw an opportunity here to sort of steal some space and sort of lift the property up in the air a little bit, and in order to create this driveway and garage underneath the house. And so that's what brings us to this style where we have now, which has this garage underneath, the few steps up in order to get onto your terrace and patio, and then into the main entry. In the garage below was where we would then feature the utility space and any additional storage. This represents the rear of the property, and we took into account, of course, the the siding and sun angles, the lower corner along where the sidewalk is would be, I guess, due north. And so for a large portion of the year, you're in pretty good shade at this location. In addition, even in these, you can see in these small massings, we started to deal with the privacy fencing due to the church and so on that was adjacent to us in this situation. Whereas, but still keeping normal height 4 foot adjacent to our regular neighbors in order to continue to allow for engagement between you and your neighbors. So that takes care of that. So to take you back real quickly. So there's a three and I think two and a half baths here. So this being the master bedroom in the rear of the property. Let's see if I can get that just a little bit bigger. Rear of the property with its own closet space, restroom here, a small corridor with linen and then laundry, and then the shared restroom for the other 2 bedrooms, which are back to back here. Along this small entry and foyer, we have the stairs that are taking you, down to the basement. And each of the floor plans are relatively similar to this layout here. There's not many major differences. There's a half bath, which allows you access from the kitchen area, pantry, large kitchen, and then island, and then the opening out into your rear deck. And there's a exit from the master bedroom also onto that deck, and so in the rear also the planting gardens, ability to generate the rain gardens, and then the privacy trees that we were also asked to put there. In the stairwell, this wall is somewhat perforated, with some slats, and then there's a skylight above this to bring in some nice natural light and give the owners a really nice view when they first enter the house. And then, of course, this great hall, great open space here for dining and living. And that's pretty much the floor plan there. Get to the next option. So we looked at that. So here's option 2. Option 2 features now an opportunity to have a small second floor. And in doing that, so similar floor plate to the first option, but here stairs take you up and down. This would have been, I guess, another bedroom now turns into optional space or office. The 2 restrooms, master bedroom on the rear, and then kitchen. So that's what we look like there. All of the options provide an opportunity for a green roof system that we're trying to initiate, and that hopefully can get funded through other sources at this present moment. We'll see how that goes. Ooh, wow, that was serious. And then finally, the third option, which this one is completely on basically slab on grade, and provides a parking pad with permeable pavers again. 3 bedroom, 3.5 baths here, and roughly about 1,800 square feet. So here, this allows for the small seating on the front part. This is the parking pad with some additional landscaping. As mentioned, there's the great room, rear deck, master bedroom. This one, the restroom is already designed within ADA dimensions, with the expectation that at some point you would transition from your master bedroom above, and then transition downstairs to age in place in the lower master bedroom. So in essence, that's two en suites at this in this system here. Once again, all of them are provided with a green roof at this point. And this starts to be what the interior starts to look like. These are the open of that wall for the stairs, which was providing the natural light from the skylight above, and then heading back to the kitchen. And then this would be the view, I guess, from the kitchen at this present moment. So that's what we have right now.
We appreciate you.
Okay. I'll stop
Okay,
there.
so
Awesome. So you
yeah,
want to turn it over to questions. We want to hear from you. I know there's been a couple of questions that have been answered in the chat. Here's a question here. When you say the green roof, is it just regular roof space or green roof with sedums? Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, so it's a green roof sort of tray system. So you would build the roof as typical, and then trays that get fastened or adhere to the roof with the opportunity for them to do the water runoff, and then from there the discussion would be whether to add rain barrels or other things to deal with some of the water.
So and right now this is an extra and a bonus. We're not sure if the construction cost can afford the green roof, but we certainly appreciate the idea and bringing that element of green and sustainable design to the construction of this home. Are there any other questions? I know there was one for Heather about the bedroom, the master bedroom. I think it was answered.
Yes, I did want to let them know all of our schemes have a deck, a second floor deck off of the owner suite. In part T1, it's really wrapped into the building there, so it may not have been as visible, but there is an outdoor space there.
Okay, and then another.
Now, when you can look over out onto Foote Street and be the lord and lady of the block there, looking out onto the street.
And there was another question.
That's important.
Another one for you, Heather. Parking pads and courtyards, are you proposing all permeable pavers?
Yes, either permeable pavers or pervious concrete. So something that would allow for water penetration and mitigate the stormwater runoff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we've used some of them you can't tell the difference at all, and then there's some other ones where eco pavers where you can actually have grass growing through them. So there's a wide variety of that, but we would definitely whatever works in the budget, we would incorporate that in there, especially in the one with the pass-through driveway. If that is a scheme that we that is decided on pursuing, because there is a lot of paving there. First of all, I want to make note that it would just be driving strips, and then it would be really important to make sure that those are pervious too.
Yeah, and
we don't want to feel like you're paving the yard.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And it would be great for the environment, definitely, to have those permeable pavers.
Yeah.
Okay, I know there's more questions before you dash and go look at Project Runway. Ask your questions now.
Surfers and house hunters and what. If you
Yes, we want to
think
hear
of
from
some
you.
questions afterwards, just email me or, whatever you want to do.
I have a question. This is Sistrunk here. First of all, well done, guys. I mean, the designs are incredible for our neighborhood. I've lived in Sea Pleasant for 63 years, so well done. My question would be is to how do you determine which product or which house, particularly on Foote Street, how are we going to determine which one is going to be built? Because there were 3 versions from the largest to the smallest. So how will we determine which house would be built?
Well, we're gonna vote on it or get input from the council. We want all of them. We probably need to go, I'm not gonna say we need to, but as we said before, it's gonna depend on construction costs, which at this point, we're not sure what that is. So we're gonna have to incorporate as many of our standard features that were discussed and property usage and see which is the best fit for the money that we have and anticipate having. That's what I can say right now.
Yeah, I think we're evaluating them now and taking a look at which one would be the most economical one to go with, so that we can try to take some of the balance of those funds and maybe move them to the second house. So we certainly want to have a follow-up with the council to this discussion, or send us your favorites, send them to Miss Rhoda, so that we can then really digest it. Because the one thing that we want to do is we want to keep the architects moving. We have a timeline for our funding that's currently in place. And so we have to keep the architects moving. And plus we want to start construction this spring. We're hopeful to do that. So we'd like to have a decision within the week, if not 2 weeks, so that the architects can keep moving. We can get to construction documents, and then we can roll out the RFP for the contractor as soon as we have those construction documents. So we have a hard deadline of the end of March to get these these documents completed. So we have to move quickly.
One more question, if I may. How do we guarantee that these homes stay for low-income families and not other families coming in and seeing these beautiful homes at a reasonable price and snatch them up? How are we going to guarantee that these houses stay for low-income families?
Well, we own these, the other ones we didn't own, so we're in control right now, right?
Yeah.
But I mean,
These are
are there going to be stipulations that say this is how you qualify to buy this house? Or are we going to look at it and if, say, Gloria Sistrunk walks in with $375,000 and say, I want to buy this house and qualifies to buy, does she get it? Or do you hold it for a low income person who maybe don't have the 375 up front?
I think as your consultant, I would make a recommendation that we look at having it for affordability, and maybe the city attorney can help us with that language, and so that house stays in control of a low to moderate income buyer all the time. I know in other cities, for example, in Baltimore, they will put a second on your house so that you can never sell your house to just a flipper or somebody who is a high income. It has to stay in control of low to moderate income. So if this program is for low to moderate income, maybe at some point we have to say, okay, 70% of the median income of Prince George's County, which I think the median income is about 70 or 80,000. So at 70%, maybe it's capped at, and I'm just speaking right now, this isn't definite, but I'm just saying maybe at 55 or 60, which is maybe some of your firemen and maybe just starting police officers or some of even the city staff that want to buy a home in Seat Pleasant, you put that in as a cap, that those people can't make 100,000 and buy this house that's going to end up being $275,000. And so I think that's an internal discussion maybe that the city has, but I will certainly write out some recommendations for the city council to digest.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point, to make sure that it's affordable to a first-time home buyer. And that first-time home buyer can be a young couple, or I would love to see somebody from one of the apartments have their first home in Seat Pleasant that they can afford.
Yeah, another question came in from Jennifer. Money talks ultimately if there's no legal contract in play. So definitely there will be a legal contract. The city attorney will review that, and those houses will remain for a low to moderate income buyer.
Okay.
And that is, again, if we're asking for, especially the last grant that Kirtland and I worked on was the Community Development Block Grant. And as you know, that money is used specifically for low to moderate income. So you cannot use those grant funds and transfer it to someone making over that income bracket. So then that house has to stay. And again, it would be that those legal details that would convey, and at settlement, you're signing your life away that you made this amount of money, and that we've reviewed your taxes and all of those ingredients.
And this grant came from the Maryland Affordable Housing Trust.
Okay.
That's what they do. It has to be an affordable home, and they have their own stipulations as to what that means.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think another question came in. Let's see.
The RFP, I'm sure how it works, but there are contact who can donate to. Well, that's great. Maybe local businesses.
Cherie said, where will the RFP be posted? Not sure how the grants work, but there are contractors who can donate materials or labor as well, or maybe local businesses, because it could be a tax write-off. That was a good question. Certainly, if you're speaking of the RFP for construction, that will be posted on the city's website. And what's the other site that you use, Kirtland?
We'll use eMaryland Marketplace, and a new one that's out called Demand Star, which is another version of eMaryland Marketplace. So we have, and then Maryland Municipal League, and then there's several construction sites where you can put projects on that will get the attention of contractors in the area as well.
Yeah, and you should also, if you're not on social media, check with the City of Seat Pleasant. They have an Instagram page and a Facebook page and their website. I'll also post it on my Instagram, which is Restoring Baltimore. So I'll post it there as well. So I think that's a lot of coverage for looking for a construction team. And I think she had another question as far as donations. The city will strive to use donated materials, and also once construction starts, is visit the community forklift, which is a local provider of reused and salvaged materials. I do that all the time in my projects in Baltimore, and we would like to do it here as well. I think it makes sense, and a lot of times you can find a lot of products and materials that you can use. Tile, doors, a lot of different things and different products can be used. So the city will take a look at what can be salvaged from community forklift or even second chance to incorporate that in the designs and construction to offset cost. I think there was another question. Is the program for first-time homeowner only? The program is geared for a low to moderate income buyer. So this doesn't have to necessarily be their first home. I'm not sure, Kirtland, is that a stipulation or is that?
No, it's not, of course. Like she said, it's income, but we want to attract new residents. Yay, first time new resident homeowners, but it'll all be presented fairly. So the answer to the question is no.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
It's Councilman Rayner.
Hi.
Hey, what could we do to, I guess, prevent someone possibly coming in under the presumption of being a low income buyer, but somewhere down the road, turning it into some form of rental property, Section 8 home or what?
No.
I think, again, it's going to be that legal document that that new buyer is going to have to sign, that the city's law department would put together that documentation, and that documentation would go, to and convey to that homeowner the stipulations of that house, keeping it as a single family, not renting it out to an assisted living facility, not renting rooms, so on and so forth. Again, I think that I'll leave that up to the city's legal department, and I'll just make recommendations from other cities and what they're doing. But
Okay.
good question.
And the first set of plans, did any of those, I may have missed it. Did any of those include a basement, or are these just going to be from the ground up?
Ground up.
Well, these
Okay.
are all ground up, and the reason why we did that is because if we have to dig down, the construction cost goes up. And so if we dig down and provide basements, then the building envelope gets bigger and the construction dollars go up. So we were trying to make them as affordable as we could, with construction costs being so high. And so we chose not to dig down and create basements. Now, if that's something that the city council wants us to pursue, then changes would have to be made to the design, and Kirtland and I will have to look for some more grant money to supply for additional construction dollars.
As Councilman Porter, we're really known for using sump pumps and things of that nature. So I would kind of stick with the ground up sort of option. That would probably be our best avenue. This area is consumed, with underground springs. So the idea of how you're doing it is probably the best possibility.
Yeah, and we considered that as well. Thank you. Any other comments, concern? Cherie said, I live on 69th Place and I have 2 sub pumps and a pan, but.
It's a pain in the butt. So
Oh, okay. I understand.
Explain, please, Heather.
I have 2 sub pumps too, so I definitely,
I got 2. I have 2 too.
yeah. So I think a lot of us and Councilman was right. It is getting worse. And so we do need to think about smart design. We need to think about green design. We need to think about sustainability and being able to age in place in your home. So we tried to think of really a lot in incorporating these new designs of these homes. I'm extremely proud of where we are right now. I hope everyone is excited. I'm excited to see these vacant lots turn into new houses for low to moderate income home buyers. But I think we just, probably have to sit down and put some paper, and they're going to sign their life away that they're not going to do all of these things once they move into the house, or the city will take them to court and take over the house back.
And I'll buy it.
Yeah. So, are there any more questions? I'm looking at the chat, make sure I didn't miss anything. Somebody said, explain.
That's for
please.
Heather. That's for Heather.
Heather, explain,
Yeah.
please.
I think she was asking in regard to my comment on the flooding is only going to get worse, just that we're seeing 100-year storms frequently now. They're not 100-year storms anymore. So we're just with the, extreme weather and climate change and additional development elsewhere adds to it also, more runoff. So
Yeah, when
that's where I was
4-inch
going with that.
storms turn into 11-inch storms like we had, so all that. We never
Yes.
know. So it's no point even dealing with it.
Mhm.
That's why I brought up the question about the permeable pavers that Ashley mentioned too, because the more people, in terms of construction, if you have pavers, that helps to not only drain the water, but it also helps with the pollutants going into our waterways. And that's a good point, bringing up all these storms that we're getting everywhere. And with every time you add on concrete, you increase the chances of water running off and flooding, if not your property, then someone else's property, particularly with inclines and hills and all those kind of things. Plus water freezing up if you don't have the swells and the proper drainage. So all of these things are helpful, having the green roofs, all of those things, trying to incorporate environmentally friendly designs. And I think from what I'm seeing today from these architects, they've tried to incorporate some of those things in their design, and I think that's helpful.
Thank you, Ms.
So,
Wallace.
I would ask as in closing, if everyone can send any additional comments or say, I vote for this one versus that one to Kirtland. Kirtland, can you give out your email to everyone?
Let me see. Wait a minute.
I know you got it on the last
Please
page.
don't tell us you don't know it by heart.
No, I'm trying to share it on a screen.
Oh, okay.
It was on the last page for everyone to, in case they wanted
Okay,
to write
this is
it
what I'm
down.
gonna do.
Just scroll
wait
all
a
the way down. It's all the
It's
way
not
down.
on the last one. It's not on the last one.
Oh, okay.
That's the only thing on the last one. So let me do this. I'll do this and this. Okay, I meant to put it on there. I'm gonna be honest. KRHOA at Be Pleasant. Oops. And then I'll make it big enough so that everybody can see it. So there you go.
Well done, Miss Rhoda. Well done.
Oh my God.
So if everyone can get back to Miss Rhoda at least by next Tuesday, so that we can give direction to the architects just to move forward. So any comments or ideas, suggestions, if next Tuesday, everyone get back to Kirtland and send her an email. And you can even send us an email what you do like. And love about the designs and even the program and the guidelines. So tell your friends, tell your neighbors to get ready, and especially your friends that you want to get them off your sofa. Now's the time they can buy a house in Seat Pleasant. So tell them to get their credit right and start working with the housing counselors so that they can be ready by the time the houses are constructed. But I think that's all we have, right, Kirtland?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Enjoy
Trace
your
and DP and partners.
You're
Thank you
very
so much.
welcome.
for
You guys
allowing
are the
me to be here.
best. You
Thanks
guys
for
are the
having
Love
best.
the presentation.
Yes, I
Great
love
job.
the
Great
architects.
job, Ms.
Thanks,
Rhoda.
guys.
Great
Thanks,
job.
Trace. Thanks.
Well
Bye-bye.
done, guys. Well done.